Hello, this is ID here, and I am going to show you how I use PaintToolSAI. So, I'm going to start with File, New, and here I could decide the dimensions of the page that I want. I'm going to go with a portrait format, and there I have it. And if you see here, there is a zoom and angle. The zoom is basically how magnified you want to see the thing. You could use the plus and minus buttons, but you could also use the little scale thing. I like to use the plus and minus because it's a little bit more, exact. And the angle, you basically turn it to whichever way you want. If you press the little squares here, you go back to the setting that the program likes. And here are the layers. I usually work on the first layer on sketch, second the more in-depth and flesh and stuff. And here are the tools. You'll get to learn how to use these as you go. You could basically just play with them and learn it. And the color wheel, I like this a lot because you could choose what color you want and work with it inside as well, while you choose the exact setting on the little dials here. And yeah, I'm going to make a quick sketch and then get on with the tutorial. Okay, now what I've done here is the basic sketch of my drawing. I'm not going to finish it because this is only a tutorial. And now that I've done the sketch, I'm going to show you how I do my line art. First, I'll show you how you could do it without a tablet. Although I have a bamboo pen tablet, I used to only work with a mouse, and I would do the sketch on paper and scan it or take a photo of it, put it up on this program, and then I would do the line art with my mouse. What I do is I choose the line work layer, which is the little new layer button here with a pen on it, and I go to the tool section and select curve. It's basically a line tool, but what's cool about it is that for every point that you make, and depending on the angle that you stretch it out to, it makes a kind of curve instead of having a straight line. The line tool is like the one that you use in regular paint. It just goes in straight angles. It's pretty cool too. And what I use, I will go to black, go to curve, select the size that I want. I could either use a size here. You could kind of see the little size of the thing appear right in the middle. I will use 0.2 because it's very fine and I like it. And now I am going to basically trace my drawing. And you could either right click on your mouse to disconnect the line, or what I do, because I find it that I always lose focus when I click the right button, I do Control X. I'm not really sure what that's supposed to do, but it disconnects the line anyway. So you could do this on your mouse, but I'm using my tablet because I'm too lazy to go get my mouse. In case you didn't know, Control Z is going back, so if you made a mistake, you could do Control Z and it will go back one place, or you could use these little arrows over here if you're too lazy to reach your keys. Sometimes I am, so I use that. Okay, now I'm done this, and the ends look kind of thick and choppy, so I'm going to use the pressure tool. And what the pressure tool does, I'm going to make a sample line here, is if you click and drag it to the right, it becomes thicker. If you click and drag it to the left, it becomes thinner. And so I'm going to make the ends a little bit thinner to make it look smoother, and like I didn't do with the line tool. You know, I fooled a lot of people that I did this with a tablet for a long time, thanks to this smooth tool, like pressure tool. Okay, now it looks much smoother. And now let's say I don't like this little bump here that I made, or how thick this strand is. So I'm going to go use the edit tool and select it on Translate CP. And you see these little points here? I click and drag it to whatever position I like. Maybe I want to extend it a bit. And there. You could also add another little dot here by just clicking in the middle of the line. And let's say I don't like a position of an entire line. Then I could go select Translate Stroke and just move the line the way it is. But then if I don't like a certain area, like the position of it, I just go to the select and deselect, click and drag, and it'll make the points and lines red. And you go back to Translate Stroke, and you could just move the entire thing. But then if you're done with that and you want to go select another thing, you basically right click the image and it'll all just go back. And you could go select and deselect again and select whatever. Translate CP or Translate Stroke and whoops. There you go. So now I'm going to show you how you do it with a tablet, or if you're brave enough, with a mouse. What I do is I select a pen size, the pen tool, and the pen size I would make it fine, like around 3. I want it a little bit thicker so I could control how thick the line's going to be as I go. And go to the stabilizer, or I sometimes see this thing say something else depending on what type of English tool your English version of the thing is. I'm using the American one, so it says stabilizer, but I've seen the UK version have different sayings. I usually set my pen on 10 so that it's smoother. You usually set it on 0 when you get it as a default, but then when I'm doing the line tool I go to S7, or you could choose a little bit lighter ones, but I use 7 because it's a lot sturdier. And now I'm basically going to trace it, but your pen's going to move slower, so it's less likely that you're going to make a mistake. You know how when you do it with a pencil? As I was saying before I got interrupted, well, if you do it with pen and pencil in like traditionally, you could control the way how slow your hand's going to go, right? But when you're doing it with like inky pens or gel pens, it always kind of leaves a ball every time you stay on one spot. This is sort of the same kind of thing. You have to keep moving your hand if you want the line to be smooth. I'm going to make it a little bit thicker. You have to keep moving your hand and make it the way that you want it. And this works exactly like the usual pen tool, so you could always erase it and stuff. There you go. Now I'm going to show you how I do coloring. I do kind of a cheating way so that I don't have to work a little more than necessary. Now I'm going back to stabilizer, setting it to 10, making another color layer, not a line work layer, and I'm going to go back to the line work layer. I combine the line work layer to make the lines into one layer, and I'm going to select, what is this? I think it's called a magic wand tool. Yeah, it is. Magic wand. And what this does, if I click the area, it kind of fills it in blue. It's not going to stay blue for long. It's just like that temporarily. It's just so that you can see the little spaces that you didn't select. I'm going to go to the select tool, and you want this to be fine because you can't control the density of this. Like that, see? So I'm going to make this 1 and fill in the places that the magic wand didn't pick up. And if you make a mistake like that, you could go to the deselect tool and just get rid of it like you would with an eraser. There. Now when you're done, if you go to another tool, it's gonna just have a little dotted line around the area that you picked, so it's not blue anymore. Now I'm going to go to the layer underneath that I created earlier, select the color that I want. I'm going to make this person a brunette because brunettes are hot, and I'm going to just color it in with a pen, the pen tool, and there, it's just all brown. And now I make another layer because I don't want to mess up with the shading and have to erase it with brown instead of an eraser. I'm going to select this shade darker, and I think this will be hard to do with the mouse because you need a a pressure kind of option, but you could still do it with the mouse. I've done it before. It's a little harder to do without a tablet, but you could still manage it. And the way you do shading, I can't exactly teach you how to shade. You just need to observe. Like for example, make your room dark and have a flashlight in hand and shine it on your arm or something, and then you'll see the shadow that creates on your arm because of the flashlight. And you basically study that kind of stuff, and then the more you study that kind of stuff, the better you'll be at shading. Well, that's how I did it. I never had art lessons before, so yeah, I never had art lessons and I'm this good. Pretty good, don't you think? Okay, now I'm gonna stop there because it's gonna take too much time. And now I could either keep it like this, you know how manga, they don't exactly blend all their colors, but then if you look at really good manga art, they blend everything. Well, not everything, but you get the idea. And I would go, if I want to blend it, I would go to the blur tool, which is at the bottom here. Choose the size, a bit too big. There you go. And you could choose the density of the blending, but I'm gonna choose it on high because I don't, I'm lazy. And I'll blend shading. And there. And now when I want to get rid of the select thing, I just go to the, what's this called? Selection. And I just click whatever. And there. The little dotted lines are gone. You might see a little bit of things that came out of the line when you selected it because you couldn't exactly tell where exactly you were looking at. And you basically go in that layer and just erase the little parts that you missed out. Or if you didn't fill in enough, I just go in the pen tool and fill in. So let's say you're done the entire thing. I'm not gonna finish this because, I'm lazy and this is just a tutorial. And you're done. You want to save it as a SAI file so you could go back and edit it again. So you could just name it and just save it as a SAI file. But if you wanna upload it on, say, DeviantArt or Facebook or what's it called? I don't know, photo bucket. You would go to export as. You could do it in some other different way. I don't know, my friend taught me a long time ago, but I just use this instead because it's easier. Export as, and you could select SAI, the one that you would edit with. Photoshop, you would move this drawing file into Photoshop and do whatever more you want. I don't do that though. A BMP, bitmap, JPEG, PNG, Targa. I just use PNG because I don't know, I just like that and it's higher quality. And I would save it. And then you'll be able to upload it onto DeviantArt, PhotoBucket, Facebook, etc. And yeah, I hope that tutorial helped and have a nice day, guys.